Right-wing Crispy and left-wing Crispy are both in the house today. I've got a Splice Today column that probably sounds more right-wing, and a piece in the Los Angeles Review of Books Philosophical Salon, Western Philosophy is White Supremacism, which I dare say if you read, you would think that the author was a pretty standard issue leftist. Um, One thing about that is that my positions often sound far right and often sound far left, and they're. I'm going to insist that the basic politics is consistent. So that shows you something about left and right. Definitely don't exhaust the possibilities. Actually, they're random grab bags of ideological mumbo jumbo. But anyway, all right. So for Splice today, I wrote a piece about, I guess, the way people are thinking about social media in the wake of the Russia scandal. And I do think that you're going to get Russian style stuff coming from all over because, I mean, the media, CNN, let's say, New York Times, Washington Post, have portrayed the Russian disinformation campaign on social media as hyper effective or decisive for the election in 2016. Well, that means that every single candidate and every single intelligence service is going to be trying the very same thing. All right. But it's bullshit. I don't really think that the social media campaign had much effect, and I need to have that proven to me. But anyway, just an example of that. So on Saturday, the New York Times sent a breaking news alert to its subscribers, saying that they had discovered that a site apparently put up by the Biden campaign was really put up by a Trump consultant. All right, and they regarded this as evidence that the Russian-style disinformation is beginning. I'm sure it is, but this is an absurd case that shows just how stunningly naive I think people like the New York Times are about social media and its effects, and how incredibly condescending they are to the people who use social media, and particularly to Trump voters, obviously. Okay, so this brace yourself for more memes. On Saturday, the New York Times broke a story that it evidently regarded as a scoop. They sent an alert to subscribers' phones for a story headlined, "Trump Consultant is Trolling Democrats for Biden Site That Isn't Biden's." They described the site, joebiden.info, as a slick little piece of disinformation that is designed to look like the former vice president's official campaign site. They've detected an internet hoax, they aver, the beginning of a wave of Russian-style disinformation that will swamp your inbox through the election. The New York Times takes Americans to be real chumps, for joebiden.info is the most obvious parody site in the world. I'm trying to figure out how they could possibly think this site is a problem. So you're a prospective Democratic primary voter, and you think you've just landed on Joe Biden's campaign site. You're presented with this on the front page: Uncle Joe is back and ready to take a hands-on approach to America's problems. Joe Biden has a good feel for the American people and knows exactly what they really want deep down. He's happy to open up and reveal himself to voters and will give a real pounding to anybody who gets in his way. The site does not even ask for contributions, which certainly indicates to any rational person that it's not an official campaign site. Okay. But it does market t-shirts featuring Biden looming over people like Barack and Hillary Clinton. as he puts his hands all over them, or T-shirts featuring slogans such as "Hiding from Biden." So an unsuspected prospective Biden supporter might get the wrong T-shirt and be rolling into the voting booth in "Joe Biden touched me" merchandise. I guess that's the bad result of this. If you look at this page and you don't register that it's the work of people who are opposed to Joe Biden's candidacy, there's no help for you. If the New York Times saves you from this one, you'll just fall for the next one. And if that's what American voters are like, they'll take seriously and literally anything they see on a screen. Nothing that man or God can do will save us. We'll believe anything. But that's not what American voters are like. Demands are liable to follow to take the disinformation down. joebiden.info is still up as of this writing. That was yesterday morning. I haven't checked. That's absurd, but it follows from the ways a lot of people in the mainstream media understand the internet and the state of politics, which comes down to thinking Americans are idiots. I'm not sure how effective the Russian or other propaganda campaigns were in 2016, but I know how effective a lot of reporters, pundits, and professors thought they were. There has been a constant hint or the explicit assertion by Jimmy Carter a couple days ago, for example, that Russian interference, which consisted largely of posting things on social media in the name of non-existent individuals or organizations, swung the election for Trump. That, in turn, suggests that feeding memes onto Facebook or circulating the right YouTube hoaxes is the way to win elections now. And if people are asserting that, or if people are absorbing that message, we're likely to be bombarded continuously from here to Election Day by Russian-style disinformation, perhaps not directly from the campaigns, but emerging from the sea of dark money and shadow PACs. Everyone who has absorbed the breathless coverage of Russian interference is liable to be trying this kind of shit in the service of their candidate or party. 50 different groups are going to launch against Trump in this vein, and it will not be perfectly clear who they are. And of course, 1,000 pro-Trump groups maybe. And the notion that you can control the outcomes of elections by covert memery is no doubt motivating all foreign intelligence services and other forces throughout the world who could conceivably have a stake in the 2020 election to select their preferred candidate and start concocting rumors, comedy bits, and dummy sites accordingly. Facebook will be hiring further tens of thousands of screeners, and the demands to break up social media companies will be redoubled. And still, loads of jive will come to your inbox and your news feed. The moral panic concerning the internet will continue to intensify. The idea that Facebook memes and bad YouTube channels decided the election is of course disturbing to New York Times columnists and CNN hosts. But the story they are telling about 2016 is extremely satisfying to them as well. It takes up a part in a long gathering moral panic about social media, analogous to previous panics concerning television and comic books. It hints that the only reason voters would turn against the progress the Democratic Party and the professors represent is because the voters are being manipulated. They believe, in short, that no rational person could disagree with them. I mean, let's say Paul Krugman. He believes that no rational person can disagree with him about much of anything, I think, actually. And so he's very satisfied to say that bad Facebook memes decided the election because the people of Michigan are idiots or whatever. Furthermore, this account confirms their prepossessions about Trump voters or their obsession about the white working class in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, and Wisconsin, for they are asserting that these people who lack college educations, I guess that's part of their demographic definition, are adults, and that they can be swayed by a meme that quotes Satan as endorsing Hillary Clinton. I don't think that memery swayed many votes in 2016, or I would like to see some convincing evidence that they did, that it did. I think people on both sides delight in the memes that confirm what they already want to believe and dismiss the rest. I don't think most people are chumps of this sort, but if we are chumps whose vote can be shifted uh, by a meme. I don't think we are chumps of this sort. But if we are chumps of this sort, as I say, there's no help for us, and you're certainly not going to be able to insulate people from all possibly false or misleading information. That you want to do that does not show who these people are, but it shows very clearly who you are. And this condescension itself, not the Russians, lost you the 2016 election. There's not a lot for the New York Times or CNN or the United States government to do about internet misinformation other than fact check and hope for the best. And there's nothing for voters to do but to try to sort the real from the fictional as best we can. This is a permanent condition of humanity, trying to sort out the truth as we also try to deceive and manipulate one another. Nothing, no regulatory regime or social media company can relieve us, each of us, of the enduring burden of independent thought. Meanwhile, I'll take anything that Russian intel or Trump consultants or a shadowy organization working on behalf of Marianne Williamson care to dish out, as long as it's funny. All right, and I don't know what I'll do about Western philosophy as white supremacism, but you can, maybe I'll, but like to find it at Los Angeles Review of Books, Philosophical Salon. Guess that's Splice Today column for this week. See ya.